So I get hit up by agents all the time that want to know when's the best time to call my leads, what days are going to work best, what should I say when I actually get to them. Today we're going to talk about that and all the things associated with reaching out into your database. So my name is Alan Richardson. I'm the managing broker here at Max One Realtor and Realtor Partners, and today we're going to be talking about lead response times and basically interacting with your sphere of influence, calling leads, that kind of thing. Now, a lot of the data points that I'm going to be talking about today come from an article published in the Harvard Business Review. And so there was a study done by a lot of very big brain folks, folks at MIT and InsideSales, that kind of stuff. And they did this big study that covered like 3 different years, where they did this for multiple years and reached out to about 15,000 leads. They did over 100,000 calls. And I want to kind of go over the results from that study, because that's what leads us to understanding the best time, day, that kind of stuff about making phone calls into our database. So let's kind of jump in there. So the very first thing is, when you start looking at it like what is the best days to make contact? Now, before I give you the actual best days, let me tell you straight up that it's every day, right? It's any day that you're going to reach out and talk to the folks inside your sphere of influence, inside your database. That's always going to be the best day. That being said, the days when you're actually going to have the greatest response is going to be on Wednesdays and Thursdays. These are the best. These are the days when more people make contact, when it's easier to get a hold of folks. There is almost a 50% difference in more people are communicative on Wednesday and Thursday than they are on, say, Tuesday. It's a pretty significant jump. So I say that with a grain of salt, because what I don't want to imply is that you shouldn't be calling folks on Tuesday. And I disagree. I feel like you really should be doing that. Now, is there, Wednesday and Thursday, those are maybe the best days, but the other days aren't terrible, right? So Wednesday and Thursday, those are going to be your prime days. If I was only going to make phone calls, would I recommend you do it on Wednesday and Thursday? Yes. But I really feel like you should be reaching out in your database every day. So I don't find that this is necessarily the most important question, because you should be staying in contact with the folks in your sphere every single day anyway. Now, what is the best time to reach the folks in your database? Now, here you actually have two answers. So 8 to 9 in the morning, 4 to 6 in the afternoon. Those are by far your two best times. Now, 4 to 6 actually turns out to be the absolute best time. You're going to see where more people are willing to pick up the phone and engage with you from 4 to 6 than pretty much any other time of the day. I mean, if you look at like midday versus 4 to 6, it's like 150% improvement time. Now, 8 to 9 is also a good time as well. And really what we're talking about here is drive time, commute time. For a lot of folks, they're in the car anyway. It's not that big a deal. They're going to pick up the phone while they're in their vehicle, or before they really jump in. If you call them after 9, they're probably working. They probably got stuff going on. Same thing in the evenings. When you try and like we would try and call folks in the evening, and sometimes they get a little agitated because they're trying to get away from everything. So 4 to 6 is the absolute best time to call. The second best time is going to be 8 and 9 in the morning. And so it really depends on how your schedule is set up and how you've kind of built your business. For us, we were always morning callers, because that was one of those things that we did to kind of get us up and moving and going for our real estate business, understanding that yeah, there may have been a better time in the afternoon, but afternoons for me were not the most available time. So for us, we always focused on the 8 to 9 time period in the morning. Again, data says it's even better in the afternoons. It just didn't work for my schedule. And you have to look at, how am I going to incorporate this into my daily business? That's where the real benefit from understanding this data really does come from. Now, one other thing that definitely came out from the study was basically the idea that speed to lead matters. We do live in a time frame where we get instant results. We used to be really impressed when things would come in a week, and then then it came in a few days, and then it was next day, and then we're getting same day deliveries. And I get that. A lot of folks are like, I wish I could just think about it and it'd show up. I get that, but understanding that speed to lead in the real estate world really does matter as well. And so on those new leads that reach out, if you will follow back up with someone within 5 minutes, the conversion is 400% better than if you call them back 10 minutes later. I mean, like 5 minutes versus 10 minutes is like time wise, not that much. Effectiveness wise, massive. I mean, just huge, not even close, right? And in like getting inside that 5 minute window is crucial if you're going to be working any kind of leads where you're drawing leads, where you're trying to get people that are responding to your ads, different things that you're posting on social media, that kind of stuff. If someone reaching out immediately, that's going to be the big deal here. If it takes you more than 5 minutes to respond, you're going to see that your conversion rates really are not that great. And you might want to think about the type of lead generation that you're doing, because to do lead generation and not be able to respond in a timely manner is doing kind of a waste on the lead generation. You call somebody back the next day, they're off. They're doing other things. Their mind is not in it. I mean, you've got like I said, 5 minutes is really kind of like your magic window to get the greatest response time that you can get. And granted, that's on lead generation. That's not necessarily just with a database, but I wanted to share that as well. Now, when it comes to talking about, let's just kind of stay on the topic of cold leads for a bit. So new leads, that kind of stuff. Now, for leads for just overall in the real estate space, 30% of leads are never contacted. No one reaches back out. No one says anything. And I find this statistic kind of a little bit staggering, right? Because, me, I get all the time, agents will be like, I need more leads. I'm looking for leads. I'm trying to find leads. I need leads. And they talk to me incessantly about, I need leads. And then you find out that 30% of leads are never responded to. So I understand that we want leads when we want them and how we want them, and we want them packaged up in a pretty little box with a bow on top. It's not how leads come. So understand that you have to still respond. You want to be responding to leads. 30% of those leads are never responded to. So if you are going to be generating leads, what do you got to do? Make sure you're responding. Not rocket science here. The other thing that happens is when you respond to a lead, right? The chance of you actually making contact the first time is around 30%. It's like 33%. 33% of the time when you reach back out to a lead, you'll be able to get a hold of another human being. Now, what happens is the more times that you stay persistent, the more that you reach out, the more that you engage. Like if you'll go up to 6 times. So you get a lead, you call, they don't answer. You send a text message. You send an email. You call back again. You stay persistent. The leads that get 6 touches, 90% respond. There is a 90% contact ratio when you do 6 follow-ups. Now, that is really, really important, right? Now, unfortunately, the vast majority of real estate folks, how many do they do? 1. They do that whole callback, and then we in the real estate space end up telling ourselves things like, I'm sure that they were busy. It wasn't a good lead. Those people didn't matter. They weren't really interested in buying or selling. We tell ourselves these things, and that's not really true. We talk ourselves out of business because we see that the average lead needs 6 follow-ups before they're ready to engage with you. The average realtor, 1. Okay, they call back 1 time, and even then, 30% of the time, again, we don't call back at all. Now, when we do reach back out, the number one way that we reach out to leads in the real estate world, especially, is by email. And I like email. I'm not an anti-email person at all. However, 75% of leads that responded to you never got an actual phone call. And you got to understand that that's a pretty big deal. Like if you are like in the real estate world, we work off of relationships. You just have to understand that it is about forming connections with other human beings. It's about having that kind of relationship where you are engaging with somebody, because without that relationship, you don't get any trust. And the number one reason why someone chooses a real estate professional is simply because of trust. If 70% of the time you're not speaking to the other party, you're not building trust. If you're in a relationship and you don't talk to your partner, you're not in a relationship. Okay. This is how it is. I understand that making phone calls is difficult for a lot of people. I understand they may not like to do that, right? But only like 28% of leads actually got a follow up phone call. Most of the time, we're reaching back out with email, and then we don't get good responses to that email. And so we tell ourselves, like, these leads stink. These are not good leads. I shouldn't be working on that. And realistically, it's that we just don't want to do the work. We need to make the phone calls. We need to be able to reach out. Now, as far as like jumping back into that 5 minute time window here, the average lead has a 400% improvement if you go from 10 minutes to 4 minutes. But what is the average lead response time? You ready for this? Because this one is a drum roll here. So we know that if you will respond within 5 minutes, it's a 400% improvement. When does the average lead get reached back out to? 44 hours later, right? Almost 2 days later. Now, why is that? Because so many of these are emails, right? So we see the lead that came in, we might piddle around for the day, that kind of stuff, and then we shoot over an email, that kind of stuff. The average lead is not getting a response for almost 2 days. And we know that the leads respond much better when you respond within 5 minutes. So I get it that it's more difficult to reach out during times when like being able to build your business around. I answer the phone, I reach out to leads immediately, that kind of stuff. But if you're going to be generating leads, why would you not be ready to reach out, engage, and talk to the leads here? So we need to make sure that we are really kind of jumping on that and we understand here. So just kind of wrap up real fast. Best days, Wednesday, Thursday, but every day is good, right? Best time, 4 to 6 in the afternoons, the absolute best, followed by the mornings. Either way, drive time is going to be key. And then speed to lead really, really does matter. If you want to be able to work leads and build your database, this is really, really crucial answers for us. Now, why is this so important right now? Well, like if you look at what just happened very, very recently, we've seen a pretty drastic, like in a course of a week, interest rates have dropped by like a quarter point. When like right now, a regular 30-year conventional loan is under 6%. It's 5.99. Now it's only barely under, but it's a 5.99. FHA's 5.6. VA's 5.65. So like mortgage rates have really softened up. So I'm not trying to get into the politics of it, but the fact is that interest rates are looking a lot better. This is a very good thing to be able to reach out, talk to your buyers about what's going on, get your database kind of reinvigorated, that kind of stuff. One other thing that I think is a prime opportunity right now is old expired listings. And by old, I mean fall of last year. We had roughly 27% of sellers called it quits in the fall, and only 1/5 of them relisted. That means 4/5 of folks that didn't relist in the fall are still waiting for the market to improve. And so now is a great time to be reaching out. So we just went over like When's the best time to reach out? That kind of stuff. Now, for most of us, and this is kind of a debate inside our world, because a lot of agents don't work leads this way. A lot of folks are not working all like cold leads, and they're not driving a lot of leads to their business. They're relationship people, and they're building their relationships with folks. Look, these same things that we're talking about work for the people in your database. They work for the people in your phone, right? You should be able to pick up your phone and call the people you know. Now, the advantage with calling the people that you know is they don't hang up on you. You don't have those kind of challenges that kind of come with doing cold leads. But for so many of us, the opposite problem is what really plagues us, right? And that is, I know you, I just haven't done a good job. I haven't kept up with you. I haven't been staying in touch, and now it feels weird to call you. Look, fall on your sword. You need to call the folks inside your database and be nice. Have an apology script, or use just a basic apology. You know what? Sorry I haven't kept up. I really miss you. I enjoyed working with you. I enjoy having you as a friend. I'm going to do better about keeping up. Hey, how's life? What's going on? Talk to them about it. Understand that in real estate, it's about relationships. It really isn't nearly as much about selling. Yes, we ask a lot of questions because we want to know how to best guide and divide and direct somebody. But seriously, it's not about selling. It's about asking questions and about building relationships so that we can build that trust. When you reach out to the folks in your database, be interested, not interesting. It shouldn't be about you. It should be about them and about you understanding what's going on in their life. How's everybody doing? That kind of stuff. Building up that level of trust so when they are ready to buy or sell, you're the first person that comes to their mind. You're who they're going to call and engage with. So good luck with this. If I can be of any kind of service, please call, text, smoke signals, reach out. I don't care. Everybody have a great week. See you soon.